Hey folks, I'm gonna wait for Gail. And Greg, I assume that you're going to be the person who needs to have hosting access tonight.
That's at least for a while, yes.
Yeah. So I could just transfer it to you now,
Okay,
or we could wait for Gail. But wait,
let's wait for Gail.
cool. I'm on my phone because I uh foolishly forgot my computer at work. Uh
Okay.
But so I'm having a little trouble figuring out what buttons I have to press.
Well, uh, we see you there anyhow. And is that Kurt Vonnegut in the back there? In the background,
Yes,
Joyce?
I was muted. Yes, it is Kurt Vonnegut, and somehow I think I must have posted it as a background picture, but I
Oh,
didn't
that's pretty
reverse it
cool.
so that I don't know how to, I'm not sure how to do turn the picture to round, so it's,
Well,
Me?
they've been consigned to our closet here, so I'll stick there. There's Fred. Hello, Fred.
Hello, I'm here.
And here is Gail.
I'll be right back.
Hey, Gail.
All right, how do I do this? Participants.
Before you do
Yeah.
transfer it to me, I haven't been in one of these meetings before, it's like this committee.
hmm
Are there sort of technical things got to happen, like opening the meeting and
Yes, all of that. I'm gonna transfer hosting to Gail,
oh, good.
and she can make you co-host later.
Hmm.
All right,
Great.
make host.
Okie dokie.
Hi there.
Everybody here and present and accounted for. Well, let's go ahead and open the meeting. Shutesbury host, you are Grace, I presume?
Yes, I am Grace, and we have to open with a roll call vote. I'm on my phone and I'm having trouble getting the video to work, so I'm just gonna leave it off and not mess around with it.
That's fine.
But I am here.
And
Okay.
can you see us, Grace?
Yes.
Good.
Okay. So, Joyce, are you
yes.
here? Greg,
I am here.
Fred,
Present.
Grace,
Present.
Gail Fleischiger, we're all here. Okay. So I'm opening this meeting at 6:59 on Wednesday, the 21st of May, 2025. Before I get into the agenda, I'd like to say that you may have received a town announcement yesterday or the day before about a road closing. And that was done through Town Hall. It was not done through the Web Committee. The Highway Department and the Town Hall folks, who are all new, frankly. I mean, we got a new town
Yeah.
administrator, a new town administrative assistant, new at Highway Department, that road closures and those sorts of things are not appropriate really for town announcement, which is meant for town planned scheduled events, nature walks and luncheons and forums and such.
Is that
So I'm going to send out, and partly this is Susie Mosier's suggestion, that folks should be educated on what town announcement really is about. So I have set up what I propose as a town announcement to everybody, explaining, as if everybody's new to this, what is a town announcement, who does it, blah, blah, blah. And I'd like to send it to you all to add, subtract, edit and stuff before I send it out, if that's okay.
Yep.
Part of what Susie found in talking to folks was that people had signed up for town announcement, but weren't getting it. Why? Because town announcement come without saying they're town announcements. Oh, hello. That's an easy fix. Okay. So moving along. For tonight, I've asked Fred to take brief minutes for tonight's meeting. The agenda is straightforward. We're going to ask you, Greg, to describe what you are proposing, and we'll take a vote on that. And then this really offers an opportunity for us as the web committee to stand back and look at what is essential to a town website. And Fred, I'm sure that you and the originators of websites here asked those questions, but that was then and this is now. And I would guess that you may have had some reassessments of or additions of what you consider essential. So that'll be a part of the agenda tonight, listing those things, just for the record and for our elucidation. So first things first, Greg, you have made a
Yes.
proposal to us as the web committee. What is it, please, in general terms?
Well, I've got a PDF I can share with you, but the issue is really, is Drupal still the best platform for the website? And I raise it because I've seen conversations about getting Drupal support, and it seems not to be as available, say, as WordPress support is. Both Drupal and WordPress are excellent CMSs. They have a lot in common. They have a couple of functional differences in that Drupal is really, I said in my presentation, sort of the difficulty level of Drupal is kind of appreciated by Drupal geeks because it does its job very, very well. WordPress, on the other hand, is meant to make more people give more people access to all of us here. For instance, if we needed to change any simple thing on the website.
Greg, without getting into technical stuff, though, what is it that you actually propose?
Well, what I propose is that I build a demo, maybe a shortened version of the Shutesbury website so that you can see how it works and decide if that's better than Drupal for our needs at the moment. You know,
In WordPress. You would do this in WordPress, right?
Yes. I'd create a little partial website, a Shutesbury website that we could look at. And I mean, there's nothing terribly wrong with the website as it is. I have heard of, in the last few months, pages disappearing, and that, I don't know how that happened. That's odd. But they seem to have been found. Fred's very capable and found them and put them back up. But I mean, Drupal is a fine CMS, very powerful, very capable. And the only problem that I see with it is not being able to get support easily, quickly, and relatively cheaply. That's the reason I suggested otherwise. I don't know about what you say. Is the website performing as we would like it to?
Yes and no. I mean, disappearing pages is a real consternation.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
And nobody has explained how or why that could happen. It seems it's not like there's a pattern of which pages.
I've never heard of that happening before.
The only thing that has been suggested is that it's a manual. Somebody hit delete thinking they were deleting a passage on a page and deleted a page.
That would be the only.
That does not.
That would be the explanation.
Handled those pages that disappeared and they hadn't been anywhere near it. So that's not it. So we were hoping that it would be covered by the security updates, but there's no guarantee there. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Any questions for Greg and what he's proposing?
I have about a 5-minute proposal, like in a PowerPoint or actually a PDF, that I could run you through if it'd be helpful.
I would love that. Yeah, that would be really good.
And what I thought I could also do prior to that, I've got my my own website, portfolio up, and it will give you a bit of insight onto who I am. I mean, we know each other, we've seen each other, but I have a 50+ year history in business communication, in what I call commercial communication. And I'll give you some idea of what I've done over those 50 years.
Bring it on.
So for that, I would need to take or be co-host, I believe, Gail.
Grace, can you do that?
I've made you host, Gail. I think that you should be able to do it.
Okay.
None of the buttons are where I think they are, and I keep pressing the wrong thing. So I made you host because I'm gonna mess this up.
So if I go to,
The
I'm going to make you a
share.
co-host. Greg, you are a co-host,
Oh, good. I am.
which means you should be able to
Yes, here we go. It's come up now.
share.
And we're going to share that screen. Zoom's requesting a bypass. I guess we say that. So what I have first of all to show you, and I'll be as brief as possible, this is my portfolio on my website. Starting with work, some of this work goes back a long way, but clients would come to me with blank sheets of paper and ideas. This one here, Rocket Fusion, interestingly enough, is a local CMS. From Montague. Mike, can't think of his name now, but that's a CMS in itself. Otherwise, these are logos and ads and flyers and conference materials and books that I have produced. I don't have any websites up there, mainly because I do a website and then they change it and it doesn't look like it should. But I have websites that I could show too. And this is my other hat, which is patterned illustration. I do technical drawings. And I consider this still a communication because the job of the patent illustrator is to explain to a patent examiner what the invention will do, what it looks like, and how it'll do it. So that's how I've spent most of my 50 years in business. And I'm, it's okay. It's what I do.
Is your site WordPress?
Yes. It's not an exemplar site of WordPress. In fact, that's another point I wanted to make during the presentation about security. This is secure. I'm on DreamHost, which is the service that I use, and I pay for additional security there, but I don't need a whole lot in security. I don't need a whole lot in SEO, for instance, because my way of getting business has always been person to person, not someone contacting me out of the blue. But anyhow, so that's what I've done in the past. Some of it's good. And the presentation I made this afternoon is here. And I'll go through it quickly.
Explain first, what is a CMS, please?
Sorry, Content Management System. So Drupal is exactly that. Back in the early 90s when I was designing websites, I would design it on paper, hand it to a developer who would code it in HTML. Invariably, it wouldn't look anything like my design looked, which was pretty disappointing. In the meantime, we've had WordPress and Drupal and a bunch of other content management systems, like more recently Squarespace, Webby, and all those types of apps, GoDaddy for that matter, who enable users to create websites without understanding code at all. In fact, I mean, the more understanding of code you have, the better. But Drupal is what the site's on. WordPress is an option. I raise it mainly because it's what I'm familiar with, and I know that it can be supported pretty easily. So I'm just going to flick through these and say, oh, this is, first of all, yeah, there are many CMS choices, and you can see some of them here. WordPress obviously has a huge, almost 60% part of the market. I'd say that it's only totally my guess that maybe only 10% of those are security sensitive sites. Mine is in that 59.8%, and I don't care if it's secure, because if someone hacks it, I'll just put it back up again. It's not a problem. So a good 90% of WordPress sites, for instance, are small websites and maybe haven't been secured properly. So WordPress has gained something of a reputation of not being secure, which is not true. It can be secured just as well as any of the other content management systems. Anyhow, I said Drupal and WordPress are two of the most popular content management systems. The main consideration for Shutesbury is the cost and ease of maintaining a Drupal or WordPress site. That's what we're sort of looking into. Both platforms are free and have huge, frankly, libraries of plugins or add-ons or themes, and are supported by big communities. And the hosting and server costs should be similar. I was saying, for Drupal gurus are hard to find, and therefore costly. WordPress developers are readily available, and locally we could actually most likely have a support from someone local that you could actually physically meet with if that was ever necessary. And that option, I think, is a good one. And because there are so many of them, they're likely to be less costly than Drupal programmers, developers. Drupal, for Drupal developers, complexity isn't a disadvantage, it's a feature, because all Drupal developers, they're coders pretty well. It's a complex system, powerful, strong, secure, and the fact that they have added a WYSIWYG interface to it more recently, but I know exactly the kind of people who develop Drupal sites, and they are in love with coding, which is great for them. They do what they enjoy. WordPress, on the other hand, it's also open access. By both of them are, and it gives access to people like us. And Fred, I don't necessarily mean to lump you into like us, because I'm not totally sure of your technical capabilities. So please forgive if it sounds like I'm not putting myself on your level, or vice versa. But that's the whole point of WordPress from the beginning, was to make websites and blogs in particular back then easier for people to make. Drupal's an open source platform, has a big community. It's regarded as more secure, but I say, if managed properly, it's not more secure. I mean, WordPress is as secure. It has incredible scalability for huge websites. It's got multilingual functionality built into the core, but neither of those things actually are particularly relevant to Shutesbury. And the taxonomies, the categories, the classifications were designed from the beginning to handle lots and lots of data for bigger sites. And I don't consider Shutesbury a big site. It's not a small site, but it's not the kind of big site that Drupal was developed for. Advantages of WordPress: they can be regularly maintained by less advanced users. It's called to fame, really. It's as secure as Drupal if it's properly managed. I won't go into the details, but if it's managed properly, then it's very, very secure. And there are some very large websites who use WordPress, including Time Magazine and parts of Harvard and other large editorial publications. Development of additional features is fast in WordPress. Drupal, because of its complexity, probably isn't as flexible and as with WordPress. both have a huge number of free premiums, plugins, and other resources that you can access. So how to choose. And I took this from, I went and did some up-to-date research just today. And of course, you can get every opinion on the web about something and then 1,000 more. I went to this site, accelerant.com, and they are a developer, and they develop both in Drupal and WordPress and a couple of other platforms, meaning that unlike some other websites who just do WordPress, they're not trying to convince you to do WordPress, or Drupal developers who are not just trying to sell the advantages of Drupal. This website, or this company, does both. So we know what our business type is, and this is just a pro forma way of thinking about things. If our website was enormously big and complex, Drupal would be a good choice. That's Drupal's strength. We know what our goals are, just communicating as efficiently as possible the town details that the town needs to know. And then this is again the pro forma thought pattern: which CMS solves our needs, which one addresses the current scope of our website. So not what we might do in the future, but that currently can do what meet the demands of our usage at the moment. So who to choose? And the winner? Both. They're both very good, web development platforms. So what to do? Confirm that the WordPress host server plugins, that's not completed. Confirm the costs of the WordPress services that we would need to use and compare that to the current costs of Drupal. And if the costs are similar, then I suggest we prepare a partial working website to further evaluate the editing and updating process and the site performance itself. And that's all, folks. So
That's showing your age, Greg.
sorry about that. So I'm going to
Thank you, Greg. That was delightful.
I'll hide this, and I will.
And this is a beautiful photograph.
Oh yeah, it's just an Apple screenshot, really, but it is beautiful. You're right. The other one that I've got, I'll show you. I like too, and that's this one. You'll recognize that one, the Edward Hopper. Looks like it. Whoops, here we go. The Edward Hopper thingy. There we go. Anyhow, I'm going to close that presentation, and I'm going to give hosting back.
You don't have to do anything, I don't think.
Just stop share.
Stop share. Brilliant. So easy.
Excellent.
I haven't
Thank
used
you.
Zoom for a little while.
Thank you, Greg. Comments, folks?
I do think that I personally am very open to the idea of exploring other CMS as an alternative to Drupal. We run in, even before we've been having these issues with the disappearing web pages, which is very mysterious and very frustrating.
Yeah.
The problem for a really long time has been we really rely on volunteers, and
Right.
a lot of people we don't have many volunteers who are familiar with Drupal.
Right.
And it's hard to find those people. So using a CMS that more people are more wide. Talk about the project of making a Newtown website. There are some other options we could consider. There are vendors that explicitly design websites for municipalities.
Municipalities, yes.
And, those options are expensive, but if we're going to open up this conversation, I think that is something we should also add on the table.
Yep.
My question, Greg, is so something that we don't currently do on our town website, an option I would like to have to keep open in the future is if we had more opportunities for people to do access services and pay bills and stuff on our town website.
Oh, yes.
And that would be, technologically, we're not there yet.
No,
But
but that's
my big question would be any new system that we are looking at, is there an opportunity for us to eventually add those functions in if we want to?
Yes,
Personal
WordPress,
expenses?
yes, Drupal, yes, of course, too. But WordPress is, most people who use WordPress use WooCommerce, which is a very solid platform for exchanging money. And you could have the ability to take money via Venmo and any other platform, PayPal. Yeah, that's not, I won't say it's easy. It's not easy because it's so important. You're taking people's credit card numbers and whatnot. But WooCommerce has that all in a box that you can just plug in. So no one would have to do the programming for what to do with these credit card numbers, details that I've given the town, things like that. Yeah, but both Drupal and WordPress do e-commerce very well.
Are you talking about personal expenses?
No, I'm just saying that if we have an e-commerce platform and I'm going to pay the town something, then I've probably got to put in my credit card number. Now, the town doesn't want to have to be involved in securing that. So there are services, the town wouldn't know any of that. It would just,
Grace is
just,
going.
I'm like,
it would
yes,
just-
no, as
it
the
would just
person
receive
who
the
would be
money.
responsible for securing that, I don't want to be
No,
responsible for
you wouldn't.
securing that.
No website would at this stage. So if I go on the website and want to send $100 to the town for whatever, it would go through another app like WooCommerce or several others, and the money would just and sort of notes about who it came from and all that sort of stuff would arrive in a note at town hall.
Okay.
And town hall wouldn't have access to my credit card numbers and therefore wouldn't be responsible for securing them. So doing e-commerce, which is what you're talking about, Grace, yes, WordPress can do that competently, very
Okay.
well.
Like using PayPal or Venmo or any of those.
Yes, all sorts of ways.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you know of any towns around that actually are using WordPress? Any
I don't.
specific towns that you?
I don't, but I meant to look into it today and I didn't.
I'm wondering what's used
what we
by...
should do is do a little survey of all the
Yeah.
towns in Western Massachusetts, maybe except for Springfield and the big towns.
Right.
But for the smaller, what are other towns using?
I can
mean-
do that
We did
easily.
a search several years ago of municipal websites, and there is an outfit, I think in Leverett, if I'm not mistaken, that does the website, but they all look alike, and there's not local management. You ask them to do what you want them to do, and they do it at a fee.
Right.
So one of the great advantages to us for Drupal is that we have hands-on
Yes.
our website, and that would not have been possible in this one firm, at least,
Well, I thought that
that
Greg said,
manages municipal websites.
I thought that
Right.
Greg said that one of the things about WordPress is that it's even easier to make changes from people using the website, not the one.
I haven't used Drupal myself. I haven't edited the town website as yet because I'm only new to this. But
Joyce,
go on, Fred.
Joyce, Gail was talking about a completely different service, a vendor that produces a municipal website.
Right.
And that's the one that
Yes, I think most of those services that Grace mentioned very likely had their own content management system. It may be actually WordPress, but it's sort of looks like their system, branded as their system.
Well, rather, I don't know if this meeting is the appropriate place to discuss the entire revamping of the site. I mean, the agenda is just whether to, Greg, for you to produce an example of what it might
Right.
look like using WordPress.
Right.
So it's
So there's no risk at this point of doing that.
And in terms of even if that were to go ahead and we did switch to WordPress, we're just talking about changing the way the site works on the back end. But for the public, it's going to look pretty much, more or less the same.
It may look even nicer if I have anything to do with it, but it would have to function as well or better.
Certainly.
There's no point in changing if it's not going to function as well.
So I would entertain a motion to accept Greg's proposal to set up a WordPress demo of a website. And at the end of that demo, we would have a chance then to compare notes and decide then, and on whatever basis, that we want to change or not. But at this point, do we want to have Greg set up a demo? That would be the question.
I might add this one thing to say before that: we should double check the cost, because if doing WordPress is going to cost us 5 times as much as doing Drupal, then we probably don't want to do it. Correct? But
And
I
that would be
suspect
a
the cost will
sponsor
be
cost,
similar.
right?
I'm
That would
talking
be-
about hosting
Yeah.
mainly. And
I haven't actually checked, but I would presume that WordPress would be would be no more than Drupal. Probably
yes.
cheap.
Yeah.
Well, we may need some add-ons that are included in Drupal, possibly, and so that cost of those has to be taken into account too. So I'll.
But that would be part of your analysis after you come up with a demo.
Correct.
So this would be for or against our considering moving to a
Yes. So sorry to interrupt, but that was just
good call. Do I hear a motion to adopt Greg's proposal?
I so motion.
move.
I'll second.
Okay.
A third.
All those in favor of it, say aye.
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 Grace Banish, aye.
Flag shaker, aye. Okay, very good.
Good.
Then I suggested that at this point, we take back up and take a look at what we consider essential to a town website, regardless of the hosting platform or the mechanism through which it's done. And Grace, I'm sure you have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, so there's the stuff that's essential, which is one thing, but as I've been thinking about it, my feeling is that it is way easier for towns to put as much information up on the website as possible, rather than having information not being accessible to the public via website.
What does that mean? What's information not accessible?
Well, I just mean, like,
If
I've been thinking about this question since you posed it to us, and I have really struggled to come up with a concrete list of things, because I keep thinking about more things that, maybe not be legally required, but are definitely useful to have on a website.
Content.
Right.
And if WordPress is easier to do that with than Drupal, then you're more likely to say, well, let's put this up. We haven't done it before, but let's put this up, because you know that it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's true.
So that's about content, right, Grace? I mean, that's been our impression from the beginning, that we should get everything up there for easy. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the basic function, the legally required functions, we need to be able to inform the community about town contact info. We need to be able to inform the public about elections, town meetings, other events. We need to be able to post any surveys we're doing or other announcements, things like the trash and recycling schedules.
That's
We need to have
content.
boards and
which is
committee
all there at the
information up there.
moment.
We
All
need to have,
content, yeah.
yeah, agendas and minutes.
But
But
the
you know, the
agendas and
best
minutes,
rule
though,
of
is a different issue, it seems to me, because that,
Oh, that's separate.
and one of the things that I think is going to be essential in terms of managing a site is having what in Drupal is called blocks. So that,
Mhm.
for instance, on the committee pages, there's a block that links the contact names. And those are
Right.
linked to what shows up in the official contact list, which is, to me, an essential part of the website.
Right.
There's a block where the
yeah.
minutes can be posted. There's a block where warrants can be posted. There's a block. So those would be back end capabilities, I guess.
Yes, WordPress uses
And I don't know if that comes by
similar.
nature of a CMS
In fact, I think
architecture makes those happen.
Drupal has come to that more recently. That was always the way you could you'd use WordPress, and WordPress has come a long way too since its
Excellent.
original
Okay.
inception. But yes, that's right. There'd be you can call them blocks.
So one of the
Isn't that
great
just
things that
essentially a page? Isn't that just essentially another web page that it goes to? And that it goes back,
No.
you can
Well,
go
I'm
back-
looking at it now. Yes, it does to a
Why
degree,
not?
but I guess if we go to the meetings page and meeting agendas, yeah, that's just a list of pages.
But the way it shows up on each committee page is the
yes.
minutes for that particular committee.
Let's go to the assessors. Right. I would think various committees probably need possibly slightly different things, but I'm looking at the assessors page at the moment, and that just has two columns. And the right-hand one is
Blocks.
yeah.
Well, the right-hand column is dynamically generated.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's good to
And
know.
I think that's a very nice feature of our current website. So all the committee pages have that uniform format. So you know where to look for committee members, committee minutes, on every page. Those are blocks in that
Right.
right-hand column.
Now, say for instance, David Burgess, I'm looking at the assessors page, resigns as the administrative assessor, and Greg Colton becomes the administrative assessor. Do you change that once in Drupal?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So yes.
And that's a block. That's a contact block.
Right.
And it goes to a page for Greg Colton. It goes to a list of members on a committee. It goes to the list, the total contact list of official contacts. 3 different places that it ends up with
Right.
one stroke.
Good. That's got to happen in the WordPress site too. Don't want it to be manual.
Well, if it's a block, my happy expectation is that it could do that.
Yes, WordPress can do that for sure.
Yay!
I haven't done it, but I've designed sites that do it. It was something else.
Fred, you must have had some essentials in mind when you first set up this website gazillion of years ago.
Well,
And was there
Say
when
what?
you said
I said I'm not responsible for setting it up. Me personally, I was involved in the committee setting it up, but
You're not going
was
to
there
take
a
the blame or the
document?
credit?
Did the committee write a specification to make it clear what they wanted?
not that I remember. No, it sort of
Ah.
grew, as they say, organically.
Right.
Mm.
It might be worth trying to create something like that, because it would answer some of your and Grace's questions about what else would we like to put on the website, or what else do we want the website to do?
That's part of my intent in coming up with a list here and now. So what would it take to define a town website that functions and displays the way we want it to?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have just a couple items that are pretty basic. One thing we need is to make sure WordPress supports multiple user logins, so different people can
Absolutely
make
it does,
edits.
and with
Okay.
different levels of
Access.
administrative authority. Yeah.
Good.
We also need easy editing, which we've talked about.
That's definitely doable.
Yeah, and a useful search function.
Yes, no problem. That's built in, baked into WordPress.
Okay, those are the only ones I came up with.
Greg, let me ask about, thank you, Fred, for bringing that one up, because that has been a bane in my existence with the current Drupal.
Which
The
is a
search
great
function,
question to, sorry, interrupting
this
again,
is to
but
you,
that's
Greg.
a great,
The current search function on our website is like a Google search. It
right,
goes to the back end pages, whether they are still relevant or not. So if you search, and we found this out the hard way, if you search trash pickup
right,
schedule, you get the thing from 2019 or
right.
And then
2022, because it still exists at the back end.
And then I get phone calls from people who are saying they found this information on the website. I'm like,
Yes.
tell me exactly where and how you found it, because I have tried so hard to get
Yep.
these incorrect old trash bag instructions off the website, and I can't find these pages because they don't show
Well,
up when I
there's,
search for them. I don't know how people get to them, but they do.
well, some of them are archived on the internet.
No, but the search function goes to the back end. It doesn't go just to published pages. That's
an issue we've got to solve.
and that's
the bigger issue
but
there
that's the way
is
Google searches too.
Yes,
well,
well, it shouldn't.
The issue there is that this is a feature of Drupal that nobody knows how to fix. So it's certainly possible to fix the site so it doesn't do that, but we don't know how to do it.
I have asked our Drupal guy at least 3 times, and the way he says, now this is to your point, Greg, these guys are Drupal
Geeks, yeah.
Yeah. You have to label what you want to search for in such a way that it looks only. And I said, fine, put it on published pages. Well, but then how are you labeling it?
Right. I'll have to do a little bit of research on searching within WordPress,
like
but obviously you don't want the search to go to Google. You want the search to look at the site and find the trash pickup, the only trash pickup document on the website, hopefully.
Not the back end file manager files, though, not the files that have ever been posted on site.
Let me ask a question. Does the trash pickup schedule from 2012, is there any legal necessity for that to still be on the website?
No, but it's going to be hard to ask people to delete that file rather than simply unpublish it, or to change the link to a new file without unpublishing it.
Yeah, well, that's one of the interesting things about programming. We'll figure out how to do that. I mean,
okay.
And like I say, there's a lot of people around you can ask about WordPress stuff, from very simple. I mean, I build sites, but I'm not what I would consider a total WordPress expert by any stretch of the imagination.
My dream idea of search function on the website would operate like Control F.
Yeah.
What on these public facing pages?
Right.
Where on these public facing pages would I find this thing?
Yes, I don't think that's a problem with WordPress.
Oh,
I can't imagine it would be a problem with WordPress.
Okay.
But I'll look into that. That'll be one of my questions.
I guess that would be one of my.
Yeah, you don't need a Google search.
It's not an essential, but a wish list.
Go to Google for a Google search.
Not a Google search, right?
I'd say it is essential. It sounds like it's causing a bit of unnecessary stress for you and Grace.
It's very misleading for people who go to the website expecting to find up-to-date, current, accurate information, and to be told something that was, it
was true 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's somewhat frustrating because it must certainly be possible in Drupal to say search only on published
Yes, must be. It absolutely must be.
I would have thought so.
But
yeah, I mean, Drupal's, yes, I'm sure it is.
And there again, only these special people do the Drupal business. And the one guy that we've been talking to just doesn't have a handle on it. So
Right. I mean, people had their expertise too.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
both in WordPress and Drupal and other platforms. They sometimes have to go to another expert in another area.
Joyce, you've had experience editing on Drupal.
I found it very frustrating because I'm fairly logical. There's nothing that's user friendly on Drupal, and following, I could follow your instructions, which we went back and forth a couple of times because if any specific direction is left out, it doesn't work, and or if I leave it out, or if it's left out in the directions, it's just impossible. I can't, and I think that one time I did figure something out, but then it was wrong, even though it looked right to me on the outside. And so I feel like I'm a pretty logical person, but Drupal was not something I could
No,
figure out. And it just seemed like there's too much. I mean, this may just be a function of the fact that there doesn't seem to be a way to clean up the website, that there's so much excess information on there, and it wasn't from the past, and things aren't in alphabetical order, they're not in date order, they're not in any order. So
that would be a nice opportunity to fix all that
be a nice
too, if
opportunity
we
to change
decide to
that.
do
I'm
this.
totally for, and I know that even like for me, I actually looked at it like a book to see if I could get a handle on anything in Drupal, and without I couldn't. I couldn't
No,
figure it out.
I'm sure I couldn't
And
either.
it seems to me like with WordPress, there'd be more resources where I actually could look something up and, look in
Definitely.
and say, oh, okay, because I know there's going to be things that, um, you just have to do it the way they set out, and it's, specific and rigid. But
WordPress also handles raw code, CSS in
you can
particular,
do that.
HTML obviously, but CSS, which I don't write CSS, but if we do, it can be just pasted straight into the, the website.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty
And,
good.
But Joyce raises another issue, and that is what on Drupal is called File Manager, which is where all the files that you want linked on your facing pages are stored. There's no order to them. And in terms of searching, it doesn't make any difference that there's no order. But trying to find them is a whole different issue. But there's what, 5,000 something loose pages out there.
Yeah.
right.
Many of
Well,
which and
well,
nobody's going to clean out that. It's just and some
probably
things are
part of,
filed by committee, some things are filed just loose, some things are filed by year.
well, part of the problem, I guess, this site had at the moment is what Fred mentioned, is that it grew organically.
Yeah.
And so no matter what CMS we use, it sounds like it's maybe time to go back, not quite to square one, but to decide how files should be named, for instance, and how they should be stored, and what tagged in WordPress. You can add a category to a document, and that category could be historical commission. So if I want to search for all historical commission documents on the website, I can do that in the search bar.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that a more recent pattern has established so that all the files, many of the files that are filed are posted start with fiscal year. So you can look stuff up by F year 09, F year 22, whatever. And then they appear alpha by the fiscal year, which is a good way at least to locate it. So if you want to replace the previous year's file, you can get to it very easily that way.
Well, each document, go on.
For all of the files that I upload, I use a coding system that Linda Ava Scott used and taught me. And so Becky used it, Leslie uses it, Susie used it, and it's like if I was doing if I was making any document today, the first things I would tag it would be 250521. So that's the year, the month, and the day. And like that's how all of our minutes are all the minutes
Right.
files are coded. That's how all the agenda files are coded, so that as long as we know what date something happened on, we can find that file easily. So that's just one of the coding systems that's not used universally across town government, but it has been used consistently in multiple departments.
Well, I mean, you have two kind of searches. One is me, Shutesbury citizen, and the other is someone at town hall who is intimately involved in town hall procedures. So those two searches both have to work. But if, for instance, if I had the Historic Commission's annual report for 2024, that actual PDF, I could tag that as Historical Commission annual report. And so that when I went to search on the site and I said search for Historical Commission annual report, it would just show me them all going back as far as the website does.
Right.
I have a question. Are you done answering that last one? This is something else. I'm wondering about the capacity for indexing things. If that's, say, for example, someone as a user comes on and wants to see all the documents across all the committees that mention PFAS or something like that. Somebody's doing research on, the history of something in Shutesbury and what has been decided or when it's come up. And is that something that is impossible to do? Or
no, I don't think it's impossible. Not at all. No, because what you're talking about there is searching contents of documents, and that's doable.
Right.
Through,
if you did PFAS,
somebody would end up with a list of documents, no matter what committee that were put through.
Right.
And that would,
and again, that could be accomplished with possibly with a tag. If this document is just about PFAS, you could tag it as PFAS, which would make the search easier.
So somebody would have to do that. They'd have they'd have to know.
Yeah, be part of managing the website.
We're though impressing upon folks to post things as PDFs, not as Word docs, which means that it also has to be an OSC coded document to be able to Control F within it. So it's not just as easy as what you described as it would be for a Word doc.
Tell me what you're talking about when you say code F. Control F.
Control find.
Oh,
right. Well, Acrobat. Well, that's the central part of Acrobat too. Is just a command or Control F.
Control F. Yeah.
And absolutely, WordPress can do what you're asking, and I'm sure Drupal can too, as you said. But
but the document, but the PDF document has to be. I forgot now what the term is. Help me out here, Fred.
I don't know what you mean.
Digitable. You have to have it scanned in a certain way.
Correct. It's not an image. It's text.
Right, and you have to convert it. You're right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. An image.
OSC?
A PDF is just a scan of a page.
Yeah.
Is just a scan, but I mean, I've been working on annual report, and some of the reports that I got were PDFs, and they were scans of a page, and I was able to tell Acrobat to read that as text.
Yeah.
And it came up with, it was 95% right, correct.
But you have to proof it.
Yeah.
To going from an image to a text. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
And that's even if it's handwritten, not necessarily.
That might be a bit of a curveball.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
whose handwriting, yours or mine?
With AI, it's probably only a few months before that's something that people are doing regularly with PDF readers. But
yeah, I mean, it can be done now,
but we don't have that skill set here, so. But I feel like the big thing is we keep running into this problem where we don't know how to do stuff on Drupal, and we know it's possible, but
Yeah.
we don't know how to do it.
Well,
And we can't
WordPress
find
will
people
be
who know how to do it.
WordPress will be
And
much easier in that regard.
exactly. WordPress is something that is way more widely used, and there are a lot more opportunities for us to find people who know how to do the things that we know are possible, but the four of us don't know how to do.
Okay.
Well, there was one other thing.
That is true.
Oh, another thought too. I know that, Grace, it's important to move the site to a .gov, shutesbury.gov, rather than .org.
Yes.
That's not, that should be not difficult at all. We might as well incorporate that process. But I was thinking that we would keep the shutesbury.org, and maybe that could be a place where the Historical Commission could have photos of old Shutesbury on that page, and the library could publish the photographs that I used to create the library calendar. So the shutesbury.org could be just a general website about Shutesbury that people can add to.
I think that we have good reason to maintain that domain name, because it is ours, and for cybersecurity reasons, we should maintain the domain name because we claimed it. And if we let it go, people could easily use it to spoof our actual website if we switch to a .gov.
Yep.
But I think that all the stuff you're talking about, Greg, all of that stuff does belong on a town website.
Oh, great.
You know, people go to town websites to find that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think absolutely, I think we should maintain that website. And if we, you know, maybe we decide to say, hey, you know, we've always said you can't use our official town website for, you know, like a community bulletin board. Maybe we use shutesbury.org as a community bulletin board kind of website.
That's where I was going.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Because it wouldn't be subject to the same Massachusetts municipal laws that the .gov or the current website is, and the .gov would be.
Now, my question would be, so my understanding when I last did a deep dive into research into switching to a .gov was that it wouldn't actually be a new website. We would just be changing the domain.
Correct.
So would we now be maintaining two separate websites, or?
No, you could do it now. We could register .gov. I don't know how to do that but I mean, it would take just a few moments to know where to do it. Maybe it's GoDaddy. It's not DreamHost, because I asked them.
It's actually it's CISA. It's the Cyber Security Information. It's a federal agency. I don't know the acronym. I know it's called CISA. CISA. We need to get the select board to fill out some forms, and then we submit it to them, and they'll help us do it.
Yeah, and we could take the current site and point it at the .gov rather than the .org, or we'd do both for a while. So if I search for, or I go to .org, it gets there. But it's just, yes, you wouldn't have to do anything to the site, just paperwork.
What's the point?
The point of having a .gov site is increased security and trustworthiness. So it looks kind of sketchy that when official Shutesbury government messages come in, they're coming from a .org and not a .gov. People expect us to have, as an official government, a .gov. It also makes it harder for cyber criminals to spoof our website or create deep fakes of our website that would be used to steal people's personal information or something else like that.
All good things.
Oh, it's a simple thing. We just need to
do it.
Get complicated paperwork, unnecessarily complicated paperwork done.
Well, I guess they want to make sure that shutesbury.gov is a municipal website.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that it's not being
And
spoofed.
then we need to have somebody with the technological skills who we probably need to pay, because it'll take quite a couple hours to actually do the mechanical work of doing it.
I don't I'd be surprised if it took that long. Where is it hosted at the moment? The site?
Pantheon.
It's a Pantheon. It's a Drupal hosting company. Pantheon.io, I believe.
Pantheon. So they're hosting it as well as being developed, because it should just be a matter of going in the settings and changing the.
GoDaddy has the domain.
Yes, well, you could do it at GoDaddy, I think.
Well, you have to configure it at Pantheon as well to give it the new base. But
okay,
for somebody who knows how to do it, it shouldn't take long. But you have to
yes,
find somebody who knows how to do it.
No, it shouldn't take long.
What are those two things called? The difference like between GoDaddy and Pantheon? What are they?
Well, there's name servers, domain name servers,
Okay.
which GoDaddy is the one that I use is and have used for 24 years as DreamHost. I can't register .gov there, but I can register anything else, and I can host as many websites as I like from. And I do host a bunch of websites on my account at DreamHost. And
I'm just wondering why do we have two? Like why?
Well, GoDaddy is just the registration of the domain.
There's a one company that is in charge of associating the domain name, like Shutesbury.org, with a particular address on the internet.
Okay.
And then there's another site. It could be the same site, but there's typically another site where they have servers that store the whole website.
Right.
Okay, and that's on Pantheon?
Yes.
Correct.
That's right.
So that would
and that's called the web host.
Yes.
That's the web
server.
Host.
Yep. And they serve the site to users.
Okay.
So
But they're
basically,
peculiar to Drupal, right, Fred? So if we were going to WordPress, we'd have to get a different host.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about Pantheon.
Yes, well, there's a myriad of good WordPress hosting services. I can only recommend the one because it's the one I've used, but there are a lot of them.
Way down the road.
Yes. Yes, it certainly is.
Any more essential features to a town website?
Right now, do people have do some committees make their own pages?
Yes.
Don't we have some of that?
Yeah.
So is that something you'd want to continue in a WordPress?
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to do the work if someone else can do it competently.
I think that speaks to Fred's question about having different people with permission.
Levels of access.
That's something I really think we do need on the website is the user permission stuff, because I wonder, there are definitely, we've had disappearing web pages that only I touch, and I know for a fact I did not delete them or anything on them. But also, we've got, this has been happening so much, and every time we think we fixed the problem, it happens again. And, we've got a lot of different people who everyone has the same level of user access on the website right now, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
that's not great.
Who knows what, as a person who is currently struggling with the buttons on my phone, who knows what buttons people accidentally push?
Well, I don't know about Drupal, but in WordPress, certainly there are multiple levels, admin and an editor, and 3 or 4 levels of access. And you certainly don't want someone who's not very confident at editing a website given much more than editing access.
We have different levels of
you must have,
authority. In WordPress, one of the problems that this faces is that once a page disappears, there's no log entry, so you can't see who last touched that page if the page is gone. So
I'll ask. I will ask.
Do you have a list of people who logged in ever? I mean, can you have that?
You can see who logged in, but if they logged into that page and the page is gone, it doesn't show.
Well, but they have to log into Shutesbury.org to start out with before they go to a page. So doesn't it show who and when, what time? No.
There's
they
probably a
would
way to
log
do that, but you could log in on Tuesday and stay logged in for a week.
Oh, that's true, because you're not going to unlog.
Well,
Unless there was a way that the system would boot you off after.
yes,
I mean, it's all
I'm sure you can set that.
You have to know how to use Drupal to do all that
It
stuff.
so the system does unlog you after a bit, but it doesn't happen very often because I stay logged in all the time and
I've
because
never been
I
logged
use
out.
the website regularly.
Except
Um,
Grace.
I've
So
never
like
been logged off.
every like week or so I have to log back in, but I never remember to log out
Mhm.
because why would I?
Yeah, I would suspect that on Monday morning you might have to log back in if you haven't done any town work on the weekend.
Yeah, I could you know, pay attention to how long it takes and
For it to boot you off.
yeah,
Well, if it's
if
not
that's
being
a
used.
question.
That's all a
Yeah.
matter of settings. For Drupal and WordPress, it's just a matter of settings.
Mhm.
And I think it's good. It's a bit of a security risk to have a lot of web access open, not logged out, but still logged in. So it would be good to focus on that too.
Most definitely.
Like an automatic log out with
Yeah.
with inactivity after such and such a time length of time.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all.
I know there
So
used
Greg,
to
do you have estimated timeline when we can look at something?
Ah. I'll have to think about that.
Okay.
Because yeah, I'll think about that. Now, if I want to, so I was asking you this, Gail, and Grace, about emailing. If I want to talk to Fred about purely technical matters, about ISP codes and domain name servers and stuff like that, is it not within
open meeting.
the open? The open, yeah.
This is a tricky thing. My advice is to definitely email the open meeting law
I'll do that.
division
I
at
will
the
do that.
APOs. Let's get some very specific advice from them as much as we can,
Okay.
because
We don't want to do the wrong
there's
thing.
a reason you don't normally run a website by a committee that is subject to open meeting law. And I don't want to have meetings for you guys to talk about stuff that is a million
No.
miles over my head.
Right.
Let me make a suggestion that when I took over the chair, I was granted by the committee to make editorial decisions on how things got entered on the website without calling up a committee. Could we not make an agreement that Fred and Greg can talk technical talk between themselves without requiring a meeting for them to do that?
Well, we can agree, but it might not be legal. That's the question.
Yeah, well, I will look into that. I will
I see. Okay.
email the open law people.
It seems like there might even be
Open
security reasons why you wouldn't want certain technical things to be discussed openly.
Open meeting, yeah.
in an open meeting.
In an
Right.
open meeting. That you wouldn't want that to be
So
general
true.
knowledge that anybody
Yeah.
could look at.
Exactly. And this is a conversation that I think has gone long unaddressed in open meeting law. And yeah, I'm like, let's just ask them and get them to tell us exactly what they think we should do.
And then can Greg give us the committee that information in an email?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as we don't talk to him about it.
Right.
Exactly.
As long as we do not
We
respond.
can't, as long as we don't share any thoughts, opinions, or feelings.
Right.
Right. We're talking about technical details, not policies or anything like that.
Right. Or making decisions about anything.
Or decisions, correct.
I have a question that might be irrelevant to where we are right now, but there used to be, you'd have to do things different for different devices. If somebody's looking on their phone or their computer or even an Apple as opposed to IBM.
That's handled automatically
the
these days.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, it's
Excellent.
not. It's handled. You can, when you're building a website, you can build those if ands in. So if it's on a phone, it'll reorganize itself. You don't have to build
That's
it.
automatic. Wow.
It'll know it's on a phone. If it's on an iPad, it'll know it's on an iPad and it will configure differently.
depending on whatever operating system it's.
Yeah, well, it's called
uh,
responsive web design, and it's something that's been going on now for a decade, probably.
That tells you how long since I've been studying it.
And it gets better and better. So, of course.
Okay, anything else to bring up? Fred, could you put up the minutes and let's go through them and vote so we can have this done at this meeting?
Okay.
Please.
Let's see.
I want to thank Greg for bringing this up. This is. I'm
Yes.
really happy you
Well,
brought this up.
and the goal remains to have the Shutesbury website operating as well as it possibly can.
Yep, that is the
and
point.
for it to be as easy as it possibly can be to do that.
So I can't, how do I add comments or notes, or what should I do?
Can you pull up the document as on a screen share and then edit?
You have to make him co-host.
Oh. Okay. Fred.
Okay, what do I click? Oh, share
Poof
screen.
Zappo, you are co-host.
Okay.
Host
So you should have
tools.
share.
Okay. Okay.
And it'll ask you what to share, and you should
Yeah.
have the document open.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
Okay.
All right. So.
Ta-da! Yes.
Great.
Love the background.
That's what I have.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, that looks good to me.
Looks good to me.
Yay. Okay.
Did I spell everybody's name right?
We have to roll call
Yes.
vote on it.
Yes.
We have to have a motion to accept the minutes, please.
I make a motion that we vote to accept these minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Greg seconds. Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Greg
Joyce.
Colton, aye. Joyce Braunhout, aye. Fred Steinberg, aye. Gail Fleischhecker, aye. Grace Banish, aye. Okay,
Yes.
good.
All right, let me add
Aye.
those to the minutes. Motion to accept. Should that go in the
Yes,
minutes?
yeah, it should. And it's all good. It's all good. And if anybody wants to call us on that, they can
And say, minutes approved at the end
bite
of the
me.
meeting.
I don't know. Like, this is
Okay.
the only way to do minutes.
Oh, and
We
before
meet
we
so
adjourn,
infrequently. Then the meeting
Grace,
adjourned at,
do I send the minutes to you, Grace, or what do I do with these?
Yes, yeah, send them to me and I'll get them up posted on
as
the
a
website
PDF.
in my town
As a
government.
PDF, please.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank
Do
you.
not ever post a doc.
I don't post doc scale. Don't worry.
How about plain text? Does that work in an email?
That would be
Ooh.
super annoying, but you know what? I can make it work.
I can make it into a PDF.
You can just send
HTML.
it to me as a
Throw
Word
in-
doc.
throw in
Even if
some
you send it to me
cartoons.
as a PDF, I just print it to PDF. So
Okay.
Ah,
Well,
okay.
I'll just send it an email then.
sounds
You
good.
had the date and time on that, Fred? I didn't check.
I did, yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I motion that we adjourn the meeting.
You motion it? How about move? Okay. I'll second. All in
Do I
favor,
need to
say aye.
record the
Brown
whole-
Hut,
Greg
Aye.
Colton, aye.
Colton, aye. Steinberg,
Steinberg, aye.
Banish,
Banish.
aye. The meeting is
Fleischhager,
closed at
aye.
8:10 p.m.
Yay.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are
Thank
good.
you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Okay.
Thank you for your good thoughts, folks.
We'll speak
Very
to you
important.
soon. And
Thank
the
you,
first
Greg.
thing I'll,
Look forward to
okay.
seeing it.
We are
Okay,
making
bye-bye.
big progress
Well.
here.
Happy goodbyes.
Are you turning off the recording, Grace?